means to accomplish things like Yosef Tzaddik. But there's a second point that I think gave Yosef Tzaddik a lot of chizuk. And that's the fact that Yosef Tzaddik had a rebi. Now he had a unique rebi. His father was his rebi. Yaakov taught him everything he knew. And even though Yaakov was not physically with Yosef in Mitzrayim, but we know Chazal tell us that Yosef Tzaddik felt the presence, and in the darkest of moments of Yosef Tzaddik's life, the image of his father, of his Rebbe, appeared to him, and Yosef was saved from disaster. So that father/Rebbe of Yosef Tzaddik gave him the chizuk to continue on, to persevere and to prevail. So there's a beautiful Bnei Yissaschar. Talks about the Gemara in Shabbos. There's machlokas whether matlik ner lener, whether you could light from one candle to the other candle. There's a machlokas Rav and Shmuel Rav Chachma. When it comes to the Chachma Shatorah, writes the Bnei Yissaschar, Masha'en came b'chachma satara adarabba kamasher mosif talmidim. The more talmidim one has, tisrabe kvod v'svarto. The more talmidim one has, the greater the kavod, the teferes, the glory and honor of the Rebbe. When mikol shekain shlo yavid chashivuso, Harishon doesn't detract from the chashivus. It's malik ner lener. It passes on the fire. The Harishon enu chaser klum. The first candle doesn't lose its flame. It's just as strong. And that's why Chazal tell us that a person is not miskan. A person's never jealous of his own son or his own Talmud. He gets nachas. So Malikin Miner Lener, this Rebbe Talmud, Yosef and Yaakov, is what Chanukah is also about. Passing on from Rebbe to Talmud, the Masorah of the Torah. Doesn't detract, it doesn't embarrass the Rebbe. Now, Lamaisa, many use the Shamish to light each Ner Chanukah. So there's a beautiful Tver Shlomo. In Parsha Mikes, he explains that the Shamish is Yosef Tzaddik. It's Yosef Tzaddik who's mashbiya to all the other candles, mashbiya to the world. And in Ruchnius, it's the Rebbe, the Shamish, the Rebbe, Yosef Tzaddik, who's the Rebbe to the others. It's the Rebbe who's lighting each Talmud, each candle, each Ner. And that's why the Shamish is higher, the Rebbe is always higher, and the Talmud have to machniya themselves to learn from the Rebbe. The Ibn Melech, the Gemara tells us he's machniya himself to his Rebbe. So what gave Yosef Tzaddik the chizuk, and what gives everyone who needs the chizuk in these times of loneliness, is both the presence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu and a Rebbe who leads them, a Rebbe who guides them. Derech HaTorah. So let me finish off with a Maisa. A new book came out, a new biography of the Kotzker. It's really Besser wrote. So I was reminded of a story I once read about the Kotzker. And he had a Talmud who was almost a contemporary, the Chidush Harim. He was 10 years younger than the Kotzker. The Kotzker was the Rebbe. And the Chidush Harim was very machni himself to the Kotzker. And one time, the Chidush Harim worked very, very hard on a manuscript on the Perish and Choshen Mishpat, Shulchan Aruch Choshen Mishpat. It's supposedly a fantastic Perish and Shulchan Aruch. And he presents the manuscript to his Rebbe, the Kotzker, and the Kotzker reads through it, he learns through it, and he says, this is fantastic. There's no parish like this in Shulchan Aruch. But he said, I want you to get rid of this. I don't want you to publish this. Because if people start learning your parish, they're going to stop learning the Shach's parish. And the Shach is an essential part of the Masorah. And so the Chidush Rim was machni himself to his rebi, who was again only 10 years older than him. And he went to the fireplace and burnt this manuscript, this Perush on Shulchan Aruch, Choshen Mishpat. And that fire is probably one of the holiest fires in history. Because it wasn't a fire of destruction, it was a fire of preserving the Mesorah from Rebbe to Talmud. It's passing on that flame from Malik Miner Lener, from candle to candle. So as we continue to light the sparks here in Aish Kodesh, we continue to Malik Miner Lener from our Rebbe to our Talmidim. We continue to illuminate the Ner Yishu Beison, Prisumanisa, to the rest of the universe. This is the eternal fire, this is the eternal Ner of the Mesorah, back from Avraham Avinu. We should be zocha to be Malik Miner Lener, zocha to the Ner of Mashiach, to be Eskel Tzedek, and here be Amen, Amen, Amen.
Kol doy di noy fek bis Hashem nitzavot to thank David and the Chevra. You know, David, he means the nigunim that he's singing. That's not something that we should take for granted. He mamish means them. We should be zeichet to sing together in Yerushalayim. And the Chevra here in Shul, a lot of work. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but to change a Shul, to change the Shul into a Fabrengen, it takes a lot of work. And Yaakov included, mentioned some of the Chaverim. It's always appreciated. It's never ever taken for granted. The sweetness of my being able to sit next to Yedid Nafshi. I mean, Baruch Hashem, we get to see each other, but it's some of the most wonderful memories, wonderful years together, all of us, and the nachas that we have, seeing the community grow and this beautiful new kehila developing. The biggest nachas I have to see that we're devoted Ehrliche Balabatim, these stories you're telling about the Balabatim, Ehrliche Balabatim that appreciate you and respect you and love you. That gives us, even though it's hard for us that you're not here, but it gives us the biggest nachas to see that. And we feel that we're ta'omeitz here, that we're sisters, brothers. And we should be zeichen Hashem to be neighbors when Mashiach comes. This the Zos Chanukah Mesiba is the shleishim of my dear brother-in-law, Rav Chaim Shlomo ben David Zev, Zichron Levracha, Uncle Howie. Was a huge Talmud Chacham. Rabbi Aaron Lichtenstein, his Rebbe, told me that he came out, didn't see in all the years such a balkishvan, such a mind, and a masmid like my brother-in-law, like Howie. About Stucca, the building they were sitting in is mostly from Howie, from Chaim Shlomo. And Mamish Shloshim now. Some of the Chemra here from the old days remember him as a person that was an astute business person that gave shiurim at the highest level, lived in a shakel of Italiya with Rosh Yeshivas, with Dali Yisrael. And it hurts that he's not here. So this is in the Chama for myself personally and for our family, for my dear sister-in-law and for my nieces, and my niece and my nephews, and the whole family, the whole mishpacha. And he should be a good debater, and a Sham Shef and Aliyah. My family knows that this time of the year, Chanukah, Chlal, Zos Chanukah Befrat, is for me, I feel the most special time. I say that by every hunter, but I really, really feel that Chanukah, Zos Chanukah. At the very beginning, the very beginning of Bereshis, the beginning of all things. So Rashi says, it's a lashon of being a person, Adam is toya, a person, if a person would have been there, he would be toya, he would be astonished, mishtoime, at the vohu, at the emptiness. That's how Rashi explains Sohu Vavohu. He would be astonished, he would be toihe. Mishtoime. The emptiness. A long time ago, we learned together some of the Chevra, a Torah from the Heilige Div Yisrael from Majis Chusi Elaine. And the Rebbe Yisrael writes, over there at the beginning, the Rebbe Yisrael writes how a person often feels that way himself. A person looks at himself. A serious Jew makes a cheshbon nefesh, Zos Chanukah is really the completion of Yom Neroim, of Yom Kippur, Shana Rabbah. And a person looks at himself, and sometimes he's toyu mishtoimim al reikani shiba. He looks at himself and he sees such emptiness, such desolation and emptiness, so much that he wanted to accomplish, things that he wanted to do, to learn, the kind of husband he wanted to be, the father he wanted to be. And he's toyu mishtoimim al reikani shiba. The Torah goes on. Vayom lekim yehi or vahi or. And many times over the years, I've shared with you, it's brought down from the Kedushas Levi Slusi Elenu, that the very first words are the greatest scream of a Jew in this world. With that person who's feeling the emptiness, the sohu vavohu of his life, screams out, Vayomer, he says, Elokim Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm begging you, yehi or. I'm begging you to fill this emptiness with some light. There's so much darkness in my life. Vayomer, a Jew says to Hashem Elokim, yehi or. When Hashem's Baruch hears a Jew crying out for light, for lichtigkeit, so vahi or. But the emes is, the Rebbeinu Shalom, Chazal tells the Rebbeinu Shalom also davens. Yishmol b'ni b'acheni. Hashem's Baruch also davens to us. And the Rebbeinu Shalom says to each and every one of us, I gave you such or. I have given you myself. Each and every one of us has within us a chelik elokami mal mamish. In other words, there's so much or that Hashem has infused within each and every one of us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is davening to us, Kivyachal, and saying, Yehi or. There should be light. The light that I've given you. The light that I created you with. That unique light that you have within you. I want you to shine that light. I want you to illuminate the life of your family, of your tzibur, of your shul, of your community, of the world. I don't want you to live in this way of sohu vavo. You have so much light. Each and every one of us. So I know that my brother would be upset if I didn't mention the Rambam. Or Tosfos. There's a very strange Shitas HaMachaber in Shulchan Aruch, in the Ramah, in Tov Reish Ayin Aleph, in Hilchos Chanukah. It's very strange. You know the Machaber, the Shulchan Aruch, was a Sephardi. Maran, the Beis Yosef, was a Sephardi. And the Ramah, of course, was Ashkenazi. Was the Rav in Krakow. We were Zeuches with some of the Chevet Daven at the Ramah. And Mother Beis Yosef. So what's strange is that, you know, this machlekes, Rav Levin was mentioning the Gemara of Ner Isha Beisai. This machlekes, what does that mean exactly? I mean, the Chakira is a din in the chefts of the house that requires a Chanukah candle was the din of the person to light each individual person. So there's a machlokes Mechaber and Ramah. And what's strange is that the Mechaber paskins like the Balei HaTosfos. The Balei HaTosfos, of course, were Chachmei Ashkenaz. And the paskins that really it's one candle that's lit, one menorah, one hadlokas neiros in the house. That's it. That's the Shittas HaTosfos, and that's how the Mechaber paskins. One menorah, and the person who's like the menorahs might see everybody in the house. So the Mechaber paskins is like Chachmei Ashkenaz. The Sephardi paskins like the Ashkenazi. And the Ramah, the Ashkenazi, paskins like the Rambam, the Sephardi. The Rambam holds that the pshat in Nei Risha Beis is that each person should light a candle b'fnei atzma. All the bnei bayis, the Rambam says, and the Ramah brings down lahalacha, and the Ramah says, v'chein minhag pashut. That's the minhag b'Ashkenazim that was widespread. The minhag of Ashkenazim was like the Rambam, that each one in the house. Again, what's the definition of a bar chiyuv? We're not going to that, but each one should light his own menorah. And there should be a hecker, the Ramah says. They should be careful, there should be a hecker. They should be able to distinguish one menorah from the other. So the Ramah, the Ashkenazi paskins like the Rambam, the Sephardi. So the truth is, it's hard to understand the Shittas HaTosfos to only light one menorah. We're just talking about the whole tachlis of our lives is to be moisif or is to add light. I mentioned many times that the Aish Kodesh, whenever he would come into a room, he would tell them to light more candles, more light. Moisif aharlach. Rav Kook said that the true tzaddikim don't complain about darkness, they just add light. More light, to be a moisif v'harlach. It's the most beautiful thing when you're driving this time of the year, during Yantiv, you're driving Chanukah, and you pass by a house and you see 4 or 5 menorahs. For those who light by the window, you could see, others light inside, but you see by the window, if you're going in Yerushalayim and you see more or. Rav Kook used to say, Havu or, give more light. So why wouldn't the Balei HaTosfos fagin us to be able to light more and more and more? What's the meaning of having one menorah? The Shittas HaTosfos. And we see that the Mechaber Dafka wants this. It must be that it connects very, very deeply to the Sephardish and Neshama. Because there is a difference. We're all Yidden, and we all have a chilek of Kamimal. But there's a difference between Sephardish Yidden and Ashkenazi Yidden. And there's a difference between the historical experience of Sephardi Jews and Ashkenazi Jews. But the Mechaber paskin like the Balei HaTosfos, one menorah. Why? We want more light. So the tzaddikim explain the following. Everybody knows that the Yontiv of Chanukah is the last. And everybody knows that Chanukah is the light that we have to carry with us through Galus. And the Balei HaTosfos, and then the Mechaber wanted that somehow, in some way, wherever we would be, wherever there would be a kehillah of Jews in the world, till Mashiach comes, But somehow, even not just in the shul, but there would be a hadlok in the shul, that's something else, the pesuminis of lighting the minhag of lighting the shul. But even in that house, that somehow there should be the or of the Shekhinah, where the entire family, Ki'ilu, is gathering around the menorah in Beis HaMikdash, where what sustains the Jewish people through Garlas, and there's very much the or of the Sfadish Yidden, of all Jews, but in particular the Sfadish Yidden, the or of the family, of the Kehila, of the Tzibur, of that reality of somehow being able to bring the Shekhinah HaKadosh, to have a taste of what it was like when all of Am Yisrael went up to that one place and there was one menorah and all eyes were turned to that one place, Bahar Hashem Yirah. And somehow, in some way, the Mechaber wanted, in the Balei Tosfos, and the Svardische Messiah, to strengthen that Hargosha of husband and wife, of parents and children, of somehow being able to create a Beis HaMikdash in one's own house. And Adarabah, not to divide into different. The whole Indian of Golus is the Alma de Peruda, is a life of separation, of being divided and being broken. And the Mechaber wanted to be Mechaber, to bring Jews together. And therefore, in that home, there's going to be one menorah, like in the Beis HaMikdash. There's going to be one hadlaka. And that was very much the experience of our brothers and sisters in the Sfardish countries where they were taken in Galus. And it very much sustained them, the life of the family, the life of the Kehillah. Of course, all Jews, but most remarkably how the Sfardim went through time. So what about the Rambam and the Ramah? So the Rambam and the Ramah are talking about what Rav Yoni was saying. The world of the Rambam was a world of B'Shvili Nivra Ha'olam, of fierce independence. What would happen to Ashkenazi Jews throughout time, and the journey that we have taken throughout time, in many ways very different from the Sfardim and what they went through, although for all of us it's been a very long and difficult Golus. But the experience of Bnei Ashkenaz was much more one of Vayivasa Yaakov Levado, of that lowliness that Rav Levin was talking about, especially in the last generation of my parents, your parents and grandparents. What the Rambam and the Ramah are talking about is the Yosef Hayu b'Mitzrayim. There are many times over the years I've spoken about Rabbi Yuchim and Pashas Vayishlach, of what that means, Levado, and the Mid of Levadius. In Hilchas Chanukah, in the same simon there, Tafresh Ein Aleph, the Ramah tells us that you have to be careful, as I said before, that there should be a heker, that each of the menorahs should be clearly distinct one from the other. You know, many times, I know when our children were growing up and they were little, and you just, if you're a parent, you know what it feels like, and especially if it's a large family, K'nayin Hara. And if it's a large family with the children not close in age, You're just trying to make it through the day. You're just trying to survive. It's so easy to lose track of each child's separate light. You understand? I think about that all the time, looking back. How I didn't pay enough attention to Meira's light, to Suri's light, to Chumi, to Ushi, to Shani, to Chani, to Shafi, to each one's own light, to your own light. Because at the end of the day, when Yosef was in Mitzrayim, that's all he had. And when my mother was separated from her mother, and my father from her parents, and my father from his parents, and from his siblings and from her siblings, and they were in very, very dark places. Of course, one Jew looked out for the other Jew. But if you don't have your own light, if Chalila, you look at your life and you're toyehu mishtoimein, you're astonished by the emptiness when you look at your life on Zos Chanukah. So at the end of the day, you can't depend upon your kehila. It's great. Am Yisrael, your family, it's all gewaltig. But I believe that the Rambam and the Ramah saw, when they closed their eyes, they saw that each one has to have his own candle. And the Ramah says something else that's fascinating in that halacha. The Ramah is talking about how the candle should be situated on the menorah. He's very strong, and he warns us not to have the candles in an egel, a circle. Not to make a menorah that's a circle. Because then it would be a medura, it would be like a bonfire. But rather, the candles have to be in a kav, have to be in a line, like we have other menorahs. Sometimes they make some fancy artistic ones for a museum, but you can't light such a thing. They have to be in a line. I know that many of you learned the Sfar Kodesh, and you know there's a difference between the two worlds of Igulim and Yosher. And if that's not something that you have learned about, you will, Mr. Shem, in the coming times. But Igulim is a reality of Ashava, Mashva, Kotten, V'Gadol. It's that Indian of Am Yisrael as one people. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu looking at us, Kivyachal, as Ashava, Mashva, Kotten, V'Gadol, and all of Am Yisrael is together. It's like general admissions. It's gewaldig, because we're all part of that. And even the lowest Jew has a seat in general admissions. And that's the world of Igulim. I'm simplifying a lot. That's the world of Igulim. We're talking about the configuration of the spheres and Oilimis. In that world of a circle, it's not clear what each one's identity is, who you are as an individual. It's not clear. In that Seder that's called Yosher, by definition it means, like the Ramah says, lahalocha, that there must be a heker between each of the menorahs, and there has to be a heker between each of the candles, has its own place. When the Maharal Zos Chanukah speaks about the Shabbos candles, and the Shabbos candles, of course, brings into the home Shalom Bayis. So the Maharal says that the Shalom Bayis of Shabbos candles is not what we think. The Maharal says a very deep thing. Because you might think that Shalom Bayis means we're sitting around the campfire, a Madura. In other words, a general, beautiful family night. Of course, that's wonderful. But the Maharal says the Shalom Bayis of the Shabbos candles means that with the Shabbos candle, you're able to look and to see the light of each one of the children's faces. You're able to see who your wife is. You're able to see who your husband is. You're able to look at that person and to see his or, her or. And without the candle, in darkness, there's a bilbo. You lose yourself, you lose your individuality. You lose your own candle, your own or. And then what could happen to you is you could be the life of the party. But when it comes to Zos Chanukah, when it comes to Ne'ilah, when it comes to moments of truth, the last moment of your life, you look back, Chalila, and you say to yourself, Gewalt, I'm toyu m'shtoimem ala reikonius ala choshen. The darkness of my life. But you were the life of the party. But you didn't have your own candle. So now I want to say something to the anti-Semites, if it's okay with you. You know, I don't like anti-Semites. I hate anti-Semites. One of the things that I found growing up most astonishing about those who hate us, I never tried to understand why they hate us. It was something that was taken for granted in the way that I was raised. It's the metzias of the world. Don't trust anybody except for your own brothers and sisters, period. But one of the things that astonished me most, and to this day, how if there was one Arois Gewaffendige Jew hiding in some cave, someplace in Poland, that the Nazis in Shimon would send a whole army with dogs looking for this one lonely Jew. It's an amazing thing. The amount of energy that our enemies, over time, the amount of energy, money, even at the risk of their own miserable lives, into finding some Jew in a bunker someplace. My father said that when he was running away from Mauthausen, the Germans were running also, because the Americans were coming, and the Russians and the Germans were running for their lives. And my father said it was the craziest. He said it was the craziest time. There were many Jews that stayed in the camps. They just were waiting to be liberated, because the Germans left and the doors were open. And my father said, him and a couple of his chevra, they said, we don't care, we're not staying here. We're getting out of here. So they're running in the forest, and Nazis are running in the forest. The same Jews are running in the same forest as Nazis. My father said they're all running, and Germans are turning around with their guns trying to find Jews. And I said they're running, and Nazis are turning around trying to shoot at Jews while they're running for their own lives. It's a strange thing, no? The terrace is that the Nazi Yimach Shemo is teaching us, not just Rabin b'yad ma'atim t'mei b'yad tahorim, the anti-Semite. You see, they went after that Nebuch, the Chabad, in what country was it? By the Emirates? I don't remember. The Shliach in Dubai. That they found Kogan, was that? Tzvi Kogan, I think. That they, to find this one Yiddish Shliach, to make a whole tumult. Because the Shitas, Hatoisvis, and the Chaber we're talking about, Am Yisrael, Beis HaMikdash, the Kahuna, Nevuah, Klal Yisrael, Igulim, Am Yisrael Chai. The Ramon and Rambam are talking about that one single Vayivasa Yaakov Levada, that one Yosef Hayev Mitzrayim, that one Jew in a bunker, that one Jew coming home in someplace in Dubai. And the Ramah and the Rambam are saying that the same way you hunted down that lonely Jew to find that one candle, to snuff out, to extinguish the light of that one candle, that one Jew, your time is coming as well. The time of Riches Nelev and Yishai, the light of Mashiach, the Or of Mashiach is going to find every individual anti-Semite, every single miserable Seni Israel that took a step in a forest to turn around and shoot a Jew, and tried to find some Jew sitting someplace, like hiding for his life. Let me tell you a story. There was a time that the Lubavitcher Rebbe Schusi Yaleinu, you all know that there was a time that he spent in Berlin. It was a very, very mysterious time. He was studying in Berlin, and he was doing all of his achanis to become the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He wasn't yet, it was when the Friedrich Rebbe was still alive, and he was with his wife in Berlin. There were other great tzaddikim that were there at that time, and Rav Hutner was there, and Rabbi Yosef Soloveitchik was there. It was, in Berlin, the 1930s. This is probably even could have been at the end of the 1920s, that time. And Rabbi Ara Lebelzer, who's called Kadosh Hashem, Rabbi Ara Lebelzer was a Malach Hashem Tzavakas. Rabbi Ara Lebelzer was in Berlin for some medical treatment, I believe. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe at that time did everything he could do to hide who he was. Him and the Rebbetzin lived a very, very, very private life. His Rebbetzin continued to live that way even in Crown Heights, but the Rebbe didn't. But in Berlin, he lived very, very quietly, very privately. And he had a few friends there. And one of his friends, one of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's friends, was a Ger Chassid. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe heard that Rabbi Ara Lebelzer was in Berlin, and that the people were going to see him. I'm sure many of you know about this. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe said to his, I don't remember the name of his Ger friend, but the Belzer Rebbe is here, let's go get a bracha, let's give shalom to the Belzer Rebbe, to Rabbi Ara Lebelzer. But the Lubavitcher Rebbe warned his friend, this other chassid, I'm telling you, don't you mention anything to anybody there that I'm the son-in-law of the Rebbe, who I am. Don't you say a word to anybody. So they went, and there was a long line, German Jews, online to get a bracha from the Belzer Rebbe, and others that were there from other places. Now, you know that when the Belzer Rebbe sat with other people to give brachas, I'm sure that also many of you know, he didn't shake hands. He kept a towel wrapped around his arm and his hand. He was so pure. He was careful not to touch other people's hands. And he had a towel always wrapped around. And he didn't look at the people who came. He would listen, and he would give a bracha. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe standing in line with everybody else. So, finally comes the Lubavitcher Rebbe's turn, the future Lubavitcher Rebbe, then he was called the Ramash, Mendel Schneerson. So, it came his turn, and Rabbi Ara Lebelzer doesn't look, he has his eyes down. And he says, he says to the people next to him, who is this young man? And everybody was quiet. And he said to the Rebbe, now he looked at the Rebbe. And he took the towel off, the Belzer Rebbe took the towel off his hand. And he took the Lubavitcher Rebbe's hand. And he said, Avar mehend, a warm hand. And he looked again, and he said, who is this person? The bells were asked, who is this young man, this younger man? And the Lubavitcher Rebbe saw that the game is over. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, I'm the Edom from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, I'm the son of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Schneerson. And the Baruch Lebelzer said to him, you think that you could hide from me? And he pulled him next to him, and they were talking for 10 minutes, and everybody else just stood away. But there's a history to this, which I didn't know, and I just saw recently, between Belz and Lubavitch. Many years earlier, at the time of the Sar Sholem from Belz, the Bauer's great Elta Zaydi, by the Sar Sholem from Belz, the Rebbe Maharash from Lubavitch, that was the Tzemach Tzedek's youngest son. Lubavitch Rebbe, of course, was an Einikel from Tzemach Tzedek. He's named Menachem Mendel after Tzemach Tzedek. So the Rebbe Maharash, Rebbe Shmuel, after the Tzemach Tzedek, was Rebbe Shmuel, the Maharash. The Rebbe Maharash also wasn't Rebbe yet. And he was in Belz. And he went disguised as a business person. He went as a merchant. And he wanted to daven together with the Heilige Reb Shalom Belzer, Reb Sar Shalom from Belz. Now the Belzer Rebbe at the end of his life, the last few years, was Saginor, was blind. And the Rebbe Maharash, the future Rebbe Maharash, was there in the Olam. People didn't know who he was. He was a stranger, a merchant. And the Belzer Rebbe came into his medrash, and the ocean split. And the Belzer Rebbe had his Gabi walk with him. He was blind, the Belzer Rebbe. He was walking with him. And then as they were coming through the shul, getting closer to the Rebbe's place, he stopped, and he turned around, and he went. He didn't have vision, he didn't have eyesight, but he went with his stick, moving the people away. Moving people, and everybody was just walking away. And he walked up right to the Rebbe Maharash. And you know what he said? Who is this younger man? Who is this? Who is this? He grabbed the Rebbe Maharash's hand, and he said, Avar Mahan, a warm hand. I didn't know this part. Who is this younger man? So the Rebbe's Garbe said, the Rebbe is a Seicher. He's a Jew, a Seicher, a business person, a schlapper, a merchant. And the Sar Shalom said, yeah, Kitay Sachem Mikay. Yeah, he's a merchant, but he's not selling the stuff in the shuk. He's selling Torah, and his chayr is very, very good. And he said, "I know who you are. You're the son of the Tzemach Tzedek. And I want to tell you something. It wasn't nice of you that all of your ancestors had to come down from Shemayim to tell me where you were. And I want you to know that you can't hide from me. You can't hide from me." So that's what happened by the Sar Sholem and the Rebbe Maharash. And it repeated itself so many years later with the descendants of those two tzaddikim. But the Musa Haskell that I was thinking about from this story, I was lucky to be at a bris yesterday from one of the good chaverim. Dovi Elias had an einikel, Baruch Hashem. So it was by the bris yesterday in Queens. I was thinking about the words Erev Zos Chanukah by the Baruch Hashem Meshakida, you did me better. I was thinking how the Rebbe Shalom is saying to each and every one of us, who is this young man? He could be old. My mother, she should be well. Even people who are 75, 80 years old, she calls them young men. By Hashem, we're all young men and young women. And the Rebbe Shalom says, a warm hand, a warm Jewish heart. You think you could hide from me? Do you think you could hide from me? To hide. Asher Kodesh, you did me better. Each and every one of us is b'she'erei, where Hashem is kivyochel, his mishpach, his flesh and blood, engraved. Chayk b'she'erei son, b'tzeretzav chasam b'ois b'ris kodesh. Zos Chanukah. Al kein b'schar zos. That's what I was thinking about Zos Chanukah when the bracha was said. Al kein b'schar zos. Kel chai, which is Kedushas HaBris. Chel keinu tzureinu. Tzavi lahatzel yedidu she'ereinu mishachas. Rabbi Shalom, each and every one of us, not just as a group, not just general admission. We're not hiding from you. We can't hide from you. You know that you put yourself into each and every one of us, and you engraved your name, mamish, on our flesh. B'tzetzav chasam b'ois b'ris kodesh. Al kein b'schar zois neschar b'schar zois of Zos Chanukah. To ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to help us to believe in each one of our own candles. That if the Rishoyim, if the Yishmaelim and the Bnei Amalek, that if the Germans and the Yishmaelim understand that they can't allow one Jew to live, that they're ready to do anything, to even give up their own lives to hunt after some old Jew hiding someplace in the forest, that they can't be moichel on a Yid. Then, because what? Why? Because you think you could hide from me? Then infinitely in the side of Tov, in the side of Kedusha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying to each and every one of us, I know how good you are. I'm the one that put this light inside of you. I'm the one that created you. I'm the one that's telling you that you're not a person of Chalila, of Tohu, of Vohu, of Chayshach, of Tahaim. Vayir Malakim Yehi Ar. Al Ken Mischah Zois Kel Chai Chel Kenu Tzureinu Tzavi Lahatzli Yedidu Shereinu Mishach is therefore, let's daven strong, Chaver. Zos Chanukah is one of the strongest days of the year to daven. Let's daven that every single one of our Chaver, wherever they are, of the Chayalim, the soldiers, every single one of them should be safe. Every one of them should be safe. That each one of them is a candle that shouldn't be extinguished, Chas v'Shalom, shouldn't be damaged. That every single one of those Jews who are the Shvuyim, who are the Chatufim, who are held captive, that every single one of them is a candle in Hashem's menorah. And you want us, to see each one of them separately. And each one of them in your eyes is a separate light, is a separate candle, is a separate beautiful life, is a separate neshama. So we're asking you, how many of us are left in this world? Hashem, you were Kares Habris with us so many years ago, and we were waiting for so long. We should be Zocher ready for the time of Oz Egmar, B'Shir Mizmar, Chanukas HaMezbeach, L'Arichas Nele Ven Yishai Mashiachenu, with the Gulash Mamitis, maybe Amen, Amen, Amen.
אשרינו מה טוב חלקנו אשרינו מה טוב חלקנו אשרינו מה טוב חלקנו אשרינו מה טוב חלקנו מנויים גורלנו אשרינו מה טוב חלקנו מנויים גורלנו היי ליי 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 Ishai Meshiach Hay nay 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 Hay nay 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 Hay nay 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 Hay nay 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 Oh say hey hey Otse michaske Ishai Meshiach Lai 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 Hai lai 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 Hai lai 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 Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy Yismach melech melech v'yamoy Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy Lai 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 Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy b'malko Yismach melech melech v'yamoy v'yamoy b'malko Oy Yismach melech Oh, יש לו מתוקן על המזבח, לא מתוקר על המזבח לא יסכבה Aish Kodesh לא יסכבה אוי יש לו מתוקר על המזבח לא יסכבה אוי יש לו מתוקר על המזבח לא יסכבה יש לו מתוקר על המזבח לא יסכבה ויש לו מתוקר על המזבח לא יסכבה והשם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי ותמיד יהיה לי רק טוב השם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי ותמיד יהיה לי רק לי עוד יותר טוב ועוד יותר טוב ועוד יותר טוב ועוד יותר טוב ועוד יותר טוב ותמיד יהיה לי והשם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי ותמיד יהיה לי רק טוב והשם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי ותמיד יהיה לי רק ולי עוד יותר טוב ועוד 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 יותר טוב ותמיד יהיה לי רק ולי עוד יותר טוב ועוד 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 יותר טוב ותמיד יהיה לי רק שיפוצו מייסך חוצו חיי מסאי קוסימו כשיפוצו מייסך חוצו מסאי 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 קוסי כשיפוצו מסאי 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 קוסי כשיפוצו Ay, hey, hey, Masai Cosimo, like she a foto, my sechachuzo. Hey, hey, Masai Cosimo, like she a foto, my sechachuzo. Masai, 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 Masai Cosimo, like she a foto, Masai, 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 Masai Cosimo. Vakasi lachem bracha, ad v'li dai, ad v'li dai, ad v'li dai, ad v'li dai, 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 dai. Vakasi lachem bracha, ad v'li dai, ad v'li dai, ad v'li dai, ad v'li dai. Oya she'ev lo sev sesechem, v'hinoi mo dai, dai, dai. She'ev lo sev sesechem, v'hinoi mo dai, dai. Vakasila Silachem bracha Had v'li dai Had v'li dai Had v'li dai Oya she'yev lo sev sesechem v'hinoi mo dai 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 she'yev lo sev sesechem v'hinoi mo dai Oh yeah, she'yev lo sev sesechem v'hinoi mo dai 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 Al hanisim Alavosenu, Hayamim Mahim Basmanaze, Vayala Nisim, Vayala Borkan, Vayala Boros, Vayala Milchamoishe, Asisa Alavosenu, Hayamim Mahim Basmanaze. Bayamim Mahim Basmanaze, Vayala Nisim, Vayala Borkan, Vayala Chos, Vayala Milchamoishe, Asisa Alavosenu, Hayamim Mahim Basmanaze, Vayala Nisim, Vayala Borkan, Vayala Chos, Vayala Milchamoishe, Asisa Alavosenu, Hayamim Mahim Basmanaze. Hey mitzvah gidai la le ais v'simcha v'simchatami. Mitzvah gidai la le ais v'simcha v'simchatami. Oy ain't shom yeyosh, ain't shom yeyosh, ain't shom yeyosh v'aylam kam. Shom yeyosh v'aylam kam. Mitzvah gidai la le'ayis v'simcha v'simchatami. Mitzvah gidai la le'ayis v'simcha v'simchatami. Hoy mitzvah gidai la le'ayis v'simcha v'simchatami. Mitzvah gidai la le'ayis v'simcha v'simchatami. Hoy Rabbeinu sha'ak, hoy ain't shum yeyosh, ain't shum yeyosh, ain't shum yeyosh v'aylam. Rabbeinu sha'ak, hoy ain't shum yeyosh, ain't shum yeyosh, ain't shum yeyosh v'aylam. Mitzvah gidai la le'ayis v'simcha v'simchatami. Le'ayis v'simcha v'simchatami. V'toy v'toy v'gilai kalu rachamecha ve'ameroche, kilai samu chasadecha kimei ha'elam kiv. V'toy v'toy ve'ameroche, kimei ha'elam kiv. V'toy 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 v'gilai kalu rachamecha ve'ameroche, kimei ha'elam kivinu lo. V'toy 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 v'gilai kalu rachamecha ve'ameroche, kimei ha'elam kivinu lo. V'toy v'toy v'gilai kalu rachamecha ve'ameroche, kilai samu chasadecha kimei ha'elam kiv. V'toy 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 v'gilai kalu rachamecha ve'ameroche, kilai samu chasadecha kimei ha'elam Hashem levad, Hashem levad, Oy ma'o, v'niskav Hashem levad, Hashem levad, Oy ma'o, v'niskav Hashem levad, Hashem levad, Oy ma'o, v'niskav Hashem levad, Oy ma'o. Evas Yaakov levado, vayo vekishimo, adalo saloy sashachar, adalo sashachar. Evas Yaakov levado, vayo vekishimo, adalo saloy sashachar, adalo sashachar. Niskav Hashem levad, Hashem levad, Oy ma'o, v'niskav Hashem, Hashem levad, Oy ma'o, v'yitze Yaakov levado, vayo vekishimo, adalo saloy sashachar, adalo sashachar. V'yitze Yaakov levado, vayo vekishimo, adalo sashachar, adalo sashachar. V'yitze Yaakov levado, vayo vekishimo, adalo sashachar, adalo sashachar. V'yitze Yaakov levado, vayo vekishimo, adalo sashachar, adalo sashachar. Okay, v'simchat te'tzayonu, v'shalom tovalun, he'orim ve'amoy tzitchalim, oy v'chol atzayo, yimcheu ka. Okay, v'simchat te'tzayonu, v'shalom tovalun, he'orim ve'amoy tzitchalim, oy v'chol atzayo, yimcheu. Okay, v'simchat te'tzayonu, v'shalom tovalun, he'orim ve'amoy tzitchalim, oy v'chol atzayo, yimcheu. Okay, v'simchat te'tzayonu, v'shalom tovalun, he'orim Hayama v'ken mat safoyna v'nek, hayama v'ken safoyna v'nek. nigba. Faratza, faratza, faratza. One more time. Hey, I'm a kid,